What's up everybody, welcome to the video. The year is 2026 and this is a PlayStation 2. This wasn't released in 2026, but we're going to do what we can to make this as modern as possible for the modern age. So we're going to install hard drive, we're going to do loads of things including wireless controllers and other things like that, so you can play it very similar to a modern console but still have those pure nostalgia, feelings and emotions and memories as a PlayStation 2 and all PlayStation 2 games. So let's jump into it. There is a couple of options. Now I used to have the PS Slim or the PS2 Slim and I had a hard drive with that, which is an external hard drive. However, when I was doing stuff with the FreeHDBoot and the hard drive, sometimes the FMVs would be quite slow and jittery and some of the other games would be quite slow, and that's due to the USB ports on the PlayStation Slim or PS2 Slim being very slow. So the way around it is I'm going for my old or an old fat PS2. I'm going to install a hard drive into here. So that's the first step that we're going to do and we're going to have a look at it. So this is a GameStar network adapter and this is from Bitfunks, and basically this is a SATA drive. So you can put your SATA hard drive in here and this connects up to the PS2 in the back of the expansion port where you have the network adapter. So see here the expansion bay, you can just take that out and that's a slot there. That's where the hard drive will go in and everything will go in there. But first we have to do is prepare the hard drive and do all the other stuff in the background. So we'll head over to the computer and we'll start that. So first things first, we have our hard drive connected to the computer. So this is here, the 2 terabyte hard drive. So there's nothing on there. What you normally do is if you create a folder for all the files we're going to download, sometimes easier, but as I've got nothing on my downloads, I'm just going to use the downloads folder as the main folder. So first things first, we need to download the FreeHDBoot. Now this is going to be used for the FreeHDBoot and also for the FreeHDBoot. So first things first, we go on the GitHub page and we've got the releases here. So we click on 4 tags. Now this is going to come up and you click on latest. So this has the latest releases, and here, so 1966 or 1.966 or whatever else, this is the latest version. So we're going to download this one. So there we go, that's that one downloaded. Up next we have to download the WELF file. So we have like a bunch of different things here. So I'm using this guide here, which is from Demo Disk Zone, and you have the link to download, so you download that. So the ELF file on the PS2 is like a executable program similar to .exe on a Windows file, so that's what we're going to use. The next thing that we also need is this HDL batch installer, which is designed to install games onto a PlayStation 2 internal hard drive. So we'll click download now and we'll get that downloaded. So here we go, this is the latest one, so we want this one here, then that's that one also downloaded. Up next we want this HDD raw copy tool, so it's on this HDD Guru, so we need to scroll down and Windows installer, so there we go, and that one's downloaded. And then last but not least, we want this ELF HDD image. So we're going to download this, and that's downloaded that. And this is the hard drive image that we need to sort of put onto the hard drive originally. So we also need a hard drive USB pen. So this is my PS3 one. I'm going to format this and change it to PS2. But this file format needs to be FAT32. Now as you can see, I've only got NTFS and exFAT, so I can't do that. So as we need a FAT32 USB pen drive, I'm just going to download a bit of software so I can convert that to a FAT32. So all I've done is just search for free FAT32 format, brought to this majorgeeks.com, and it's this FAT32 format. So obviously we'll get that opened up, and as you can see here, this opens it up. So the E drive, which is this one, I'll just change that to PS2 instead, and we'll start that. That'll format that, and the pen drive is being used by another one, so I'll just unplug that, plug that back in. There we go. I'll change that to PS2 again, and that shouldn't be in use. Allow me now to, there we go. So it was in use for some reason, so I've just formatted it with the Windows option to change it to exFAT again, but now I've changed it to FAT32, so we'll just go back into disk management, double check that. Yeah, so that is now in FAT32 format on that USB pen, so that's it sorted. So what I've done is just the FreeHDBoot and the HDL bin installer. I've just extracted those because those are the 7-zip folders. So that's them extracted now. So what we need to do, this FreeHDBoot installer, so you need to click in it and you need to remove all of this after it. So then what we need to do, this FreeHDBoot inst and boot.elf, we need to copy these two and head over to the USB pen. You need to paste these in here. So those are in there. Obviously this is a PS3 for some reason, even though I changed it to PS2. But there we go. So that's them there. So next in line we need this Open PS2 Loader, OPL, for the PS2. So we need to go on the GitHub. So we're on the latest version. Click on Assets and you should have them here. And these are what you need to download. So not the Langs, it's this one here. So the version 1.2.0 beta. So you just click on that and that'll download that for you. So we head back into our download section. There we go. And again, this is 7-zip. So we need to go to 7-zip, extract here, just extract that folder. Delete that 7-zip so we don't get lost off. So this is the Open PS2. What we need to do is after this folder, you need to go in and you see this OpenPS2.elf, the really long file name. So we need to click on that and remove everything after the OpenPS2 LD leaving .elf. So then this one here, this file that you just renamed, you need to copy that. And that also needs to go on the USB pen. So there we go. So we're done with the USB pen, so we'll just head down and we'll remove that from the computer, just so we don't put anything else on it. So there we go, safe to remove. So now we need to work on the hard drive here, which is renamed as 2TB hard drive, just so I knew it's the 2TB one. So what we need to do is go on the downloads that we downloaded, and within here we have the HDD raw copy. So we need to go on this one here. So double click that, run this. So I'm just going to install that. Not bother about a desktop, I'll have a quick launch. So once that's installed, I'm going to launch it. Agree to that. And here we go. This is where we mess around with the hard drive. So the first screen here, as you can see at the bottom, it says please select source. Now what we need to do is where it says file at the bottom, you double click that. Once that's double clicked up, we need to go into the downloads where we downloaded it. And it's this one here, the __mbr.raw. So double click that. And that'll load that up. So what we need to do is click on the continue. Once that comes up, we need to find the hard drive. And I've got mine plugged into USB. It's the only hard drive I've got in, and it's the only 2TB one because my PC that I'm using is only 500 gig. So what you have to do is be very, very careful, because if you select a different hard drive, say for example you selected this one, that would wipe that hard drive, and that would be your computer hard drive. So make sure you select your external hard drive that you've got plugged in that you're going to put in the PS2. And then click continue. So now we're on this screen. What you need to do is click on start. It'll prompt you, do you want to overwrite it? Click yes, and that will overwrite your drive. That has it gone through, 100% complete, and that's it all done. So that's it all done. You can close that now. Then all you have to do is your hard drive should be disconnected. So that's it all done. Now you can head to your PlayStation and we'll get started there. Now we're back in the real world, not on the computer. What you need to do is you take your hard drive, you have your bay, and all you need to do is just connect that up. So there's your hard drive in the network connector for the PlayStation 2. Super simple. Take off the little protector for the PlayStation 2 port. So have your PS2 and you get your hard drive, and that should just slot right in. Like that. And that's in. Now these two screws, just need to tighten them up to hold it in place. So that's the hard drive all plugged in. What we need to do is take the USB, stick that in the USB port, and then plug it in. You'll have to excuse the setup, it's a little bit messy at the minute, but here we go. Turn it on. Turns on. So if everything has gone well, PS2 will load up, and it'll load up this ELF manager. So it's booting from the actual hard drive now. And as you can see here, the buttons are back to front. So circle is the X, X is circle, just like the standard Japanese version. So what you need to do is press circle, and that'll load up your file browser. So if you have memory card, 0 and 1, so 0 is one on the left, memory card 1 is the one on the right. You have your hard drive, you have that's the hard drive installed, you have your mass, which is your USB, host and miscellaneous. So in the list, you've got mass here, so you go down to mass and press circle. That's the hard drive, the USB pen. Now you need to go to the FMCB INST for the install for FreeHDBoot. Press circle again. You need to go down to the installer.elf and press circle on that. So what that is going to do now is going to install FreeHDBoot or FreeHDBoot. So we're in the installer now. What we need to do is press R1, and that'll take us to another menu with more options. You need to go down, you need to format the hard drive. So format the hard drive unit, all data will be erased. Click OK, and that'll format the hard drive here in the format of the PlayStation 2. So that's it done. It'll take you back to this menu once it's all formatted. So then on the menu, you've got this install FreeHDB. This is the free hard drive McBoot. So you're going to click X on that again, and that'll go to this. So it'll say it wants to be installed, so you need to go down to yes, and then press X again to install it. So that's going to go through now. That's installing at 23, 25. That'll install the free hard drive boot on this particular hard drive. Installation complete, so click X on OK, and that's that bit done. So we're now done in here, so click circle to exit, quit program, yes on X on that. So then that's going to exit out that program because we're done with doing all the stuff in there. So as we installed Free McBoot, instead of booting into that file manager, which it did the first time, it'll load up the PlayStation like this and load up FreeHDBoot. So with the PS2 Slim, you use the Free McBoot, which is using the memory card. You can also do the same on the FAT, but for sort of ease of use, I think it's easier putting the HD boot on the hard drive and booting straight from the hard drive, so you don't need the Free McBoot memory card installed. So you've got your 2 slots free for memory cards, but technically you only need 1 because this is the modern day, and we have an example for that. So the Open PS2 loader on here, which is here, this is an older version. So on the USB pen, we put the newer version on. So what we need to do is copy that over now. So we're going to go up to wlaunch.elf.isr or _isr. So again, press X, and that's going to load it in, and that's going to load us into a file manager. And this is where we can copy that file and put it on the hard drive. So again, this is back to front. So what we need to do is go down to Mass and press circle for OK. And this openps2.elf, this is the file that we need to copy. So to do that, you need to press R1. That'll load up a little menu over here. Then you click copy with circle, so then that copies that file. So then you need to press triangle to go back. Then you need to go to HDD0 for the hard drive, press circle, and that'll load you into there. Go down to the FreeHDB.apps option for the apps for FreeHDBoot, press circle, that'll load up the next screen. Then you need to go to OPL and press circle. So then now you're in here, you'll see this one's here, this is the old one. So we need to press R1 and then circle for paste. And that is going to overwrite the old file and put the new one on there. So once that's done, we need to press circle and then that'll go up. Now, before we exit out this, we need to do one more thing. So we need to go down to MISC and press circle. So the next thing we need to do is go to HDD manager and press circle again. And this is going to load up like a partition section here for this hard drive. So what we need to do is create a new partition. So for that, you press R1, then you need to go to create with circle. And what you need to do is need to name this plus OPL. So the OPL needs to be all capitals because that's the way that the sort of file system reads it. And this is where all the games are going to go. So when you click circle on OK, it'll come up and it'll give you a size. So when you go up anything, I think it's 750 gig or less, you need to have it on 768. Anything bigger, you need to change it to the 1536. So as this is a 2 terabyte hard drive, that's the option that we need. So you need to press circle and this will create the partition. It says create new partition, click OK. What this is going to do is create a partition which may only look like 1.5 gig, but this file size changes with the hard drive as well. So the partition expands and gets smaller as you're using it. It's not a fixed size as you normally would with a hard drive. So that's it all done. You need to press circle for exit, circle again, and this will come up and this is sort of your about. And yeah, so all you have to do now is just power off your PlayStation, take the hard drive out, connect that to the computer, and that's when we can transfer the games. So now we're back on the computer. We need to head into this HDL bin installer, and it's the HDL batch installer.exe. I'm going to run this, and this is what we're going to use to put games on that hard drive. So as you can see here, it just loads up this screen here, search for PS2 hard drives, and it's showing up the hard drive here. Now the thing is, when you install this on the hard drive and go back into your Windows, it comes up saying that this too can't be accessed, you need to initialize it. Don't do this because it'll wipe off your FreeHDBoot. but what you need is this here, and this is what we're going to use. So I'm just copying over a couple of ROMs onto the computer just so I can install them. We have some Ridge Racer, we have some Resident Evil, we have Little Britain, because that's the best PS2 game in the entire world. But we'll just let them copy across, and then we can add them onto the system. So that's them moved across, so we're just going to install these. So in the application, click on Search Games, and I just put these in the downloads under ROMs. Just select them all. So Resident Evil, Ridge Racer and Little Britain. Click Open, and that will open up these onto there. So then all we're going to do is click Install. So that's just going to run in the background, and as you can see in the command prompt in the back, that is loading everything in and doing all of that good stuff. So it's even found the custom icon to use on the open PlayStation loader, so you have that icon of the game as well. So there we go, that's it done. Then in the application you click Browse, click Get List, and that'll load up the games on your hard drive. So now we'll move those games across, put the hard drive back in the PlayStation, we'll turn it on just to give it a quick test. So this should boot up, and then we'll be able to go into the open loader and load up one of those games, and that should be fine to play with. And then all you have to do, take the hard drive back out, put back in the computer, and then all you do, copy the rest of the games across that you want. So there we go, into the FreeHDBoot, even though it's the HDBoot. And it's loading up now, and this is loading up the menu. So all we need to do is go to Open PS2 Loader, click X on that, that'll load up, and that should load up the file list of all the games. So there we go, this has brought up the Open Loader and this has brought up the settings menu. We'll go back, press circle, and that takes us to the games list. And as you can see, this is the games that we have loaded up. So if I go Ridge Racer 5, press X on it, and that should load up the game. Let's find out. There we go. That's loaded the game up, and that's how simple it is. So now all you have to do is just copy all of your game collection that you own, the originals and ROMs, onto there, and then you have your massive list that you can select any game. So by now you have your hard drive installed with all of your games on. Tony Hawk's, love that. The next thing we need to do is do some more modernization, and this is the next step. You don't want to be bound by wires for the controllers, you need to take it wirelessly. So to get in the modern age, you need to go wireless, and this is where this comes in. So this here is from Blue Retro, and this is for the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, and this is a wireless controller adapter. And what we're going to do is use this to connect our PS4 controller so we can use that on the PS2. You can use other controllers, so like any of these here, or GameSir, or Retro Fighters, or 8-Bit Door, or anything like that. You can use all of those controllers, but we're going to use the PS4 one, just because I want to keep it like PlayStation related, so it's quite new controller, but not, so rather than using an Xbox controller on a PlayStation. So we'll have a look at this, and we'll get it in. So in the box, you get the instruction manual, you get a long cable, so you can do firmware uploads and stuff. So you can plug this in, and plug it into the computer, so you can get firmware updates, and update this so you have all of the latest things on it. But this should be good out of the box, so we'll have a go. So here we go. So we'll unplug this, and we're now going to go into wireless mode. So on the instructions here, this is what we're going to go through. So you have this little boot button here. So if you hold that for under 3 seconds, then it's going to disconnect all Bluetooth devices. Hold 3 to 6 seconds, it's going to start new pairing. If you hold for 10 seconds, it's going to restart default configs and clear the pairing keys. So you have the red light on fully, Bluetooth failure, don't want that. The red light pulsing, searching for a wireless connector. So that's what that's doing there. If you can see it, that's pulsing through. And when the blue light is on, it's Bluetooth connected. So we want this to turn blue. So PS4 and PS5 controllers, you can pair these up. So you need to make sure it's in sync mode, which it is. Then you hold down the share button or create button on the PS5 and the PlayStation button of the controller until the light bar flashes blink. When that's done, it should connect and the LED should go fully on. So we'll give that a try. So I have my PS4 controller here. So the share button and this button. So that's come on flashing now. So that's the Bluetooth active. And then hopefully this should pick it up and connect to it. That's Bluetooth, it doesn't have to be near it, but I just thought I'd put it near just so we can see it on the camera. So there we go. It's gone from pairing mode and it's now paired up because the controller has turned the light bar on. So with that connected, we're now just going to turn it back on. So we press that button on and then that should turn it on and that should connect it. So the controller's on and this says that it's connected also. So now we have the wireless controller all sorted. What we're going to do is look into the screen. So as you can see from that, using the composite or even component cables, the TVs these days don't have them. Some of them have component cables, which is great. Just plug it straight in and that works. If not, you're going to have to go for HDMI. Now the PlayStation doesn't support HDMI, but you can get adapters. So this is the McBasil adapter. Now this is a HDMI adapter which meant to work for PS1 and PS2. Now the good thing about this one, the option is here to go for 4:3 or 16:9. When I record videos for YouTube, I put them in 16:9, but sometimes it's nice to play it in 4:3 in the natural aspect ratio which the game is meant to be played in. So having this as an option is really good, and for some reason the 720 and 1080 you can choose between them, but you would always just choose the high resolution anyway. There is some other converters and different things out there. There's a slightly cheaper version of this, I do believe, which is about £6, and that just plugs in and you can use that really. And I think there is a lot of varying differences in terms of quality with some of them, so it's good to look for reviews, see what you think about different things depending on your price bracket. I think this one was about £15, slightly less, so it's not too bad. But yeah, we'll get this installed and we'll have a look. The thing to note about this is you need USB power to it for it to work. Now use the USB port in the front of the PS2, so this is powered on when the PS2 is powered on. So we'll head over. So I've got the USB plugged into the front of the PlayStation, and we're just going to plug that into the HDMI adapter. Then we have the HDMI lead here, which just goes into the adapter, like so. And then all we have to do is plug this into the back of the PlayStation, like so. And then we have HDMI PS2. And just look at that quality compared to the other one that I used. Because when I was shooting before, I was just a SCART into a box with an upscaler essentially, but it wasn't overly great. But this is now HDMI and should be 1080p, because I think that's what's selected on there. And that's how you'll be able to plug it into your modern day TV and get a really good picture for it. So the only other thing to note is a lot of these, when you're using them, they use the composite cables rather than component, and that isn't the best quality picture. So what you need to do is go into your system settings, and mine's already set up for this for component, but generally you'll be on RGB here, so you change that to the component and then you get a better picture as well. So we have our game sorted with a hard drive, so it's easy access, easy to update, and your full collection in one place rather than having to do different things. Use the disc, burn the disc, like burn the disc out rather than burn a disc, if that makes sense. We also have the wireless controller. For this, for the minute, I've just switched back to the wired controller while I do this. And we also have the TV input put into 1080p HDMI, so that's good. Now, what else can we do to bring the PS2 into the modern age? When you're saving games, the old memory cards are quite small size, wherever they have gone. Here we go. So that one there is 8 megabytes. Now, back in the day, 8 megabytes used to be quite big, used to fit a lot of things on it. However, if you've got saves for 300 games, it's going to be a lot of space. So what do you need? You need one of these. So this is from Bitfunks, and this here is a PSX mem card Gen 2, PS1, PS1 and PS2. So this is like a virtual memory card, so you can save on here and you can put your micro SD in there and save onto it basically, so you have unlimited storage rather than having to have multiple memory cards for different games and that sort of thing. All of it is stored on here, so we're really excited to get this opened up and put in. So if I had one of these when I was a kid, it would be amazing. So I used to have memory cards, and they were labelled up with like Final Fantasy, Metal Gear Solid, so it was all specific to that game, so I didn't overwrite it or run out of space. But this is it. So let's open this up. In the box you have your quick start guide, and you also have the memory card itself. Now when I originally bought this, I was buying it for the PlayStation 1, so I got the grey colour. Now in hindsight, I'm going to be mainly using this on the PS2, so I wish I got a black one, but I'll just have to make do with it. We have a little no branded, no name card in there, so I'll probably change it out for a better one as we go further down, but just for the test, I'm going to use it with this one. What we're going to do is take the memory card, put that in there, and it comes up saying loading. So there we go, PS2 memory card. It's got FreeHDBoot, saying which it has on here, and has boot. So you have these buttons here, and these go between the different things. So you have different channels, and that's what you switch between. So now what I should be able to do is go into browser. When that loads up, the memory card is now showing up on there. So I can go into here, and there we go. When you press both the buttons together, it loads up this menu which you can go through. So there's the button. So the boot mode is PS2. I think if you hold it, yeah, it comes up and you can change it. So there, PS2. So it's PS2 memory card. So there we go, press both the buttons and we'll come back. So we're going to PS2 settings. So for variants, you've got retail, proto and arcade. So I'm just going to go for retail, just so it's like a retail PlayStation. Auto boot, yes. So I want it to auto boot when the PlayStation comes on. Game ID, so when you're playing a specific game, the game ID actually comes up on here as well, which is really good. So yeah, and then that's about it for the settings. So we're going to the display. Auto off is off, so the screen's not going to go off. And that's basically it. The info, so we've got version 1.2.0. So we'll go for burnout. So then once you load in a game, the memory card comes with this loading card. And there we go. That's loaded up as Burnout. So it brings up the actual title of the game and everything else on there. So now it comes up, no Burnout save file present. So do you want to create one? So we click yes. We can only choose 3, so we'll go for retro gaming challenges. There we go. Auto saving data to the memory card. So as you can see, that's saving on there. And that is actually saving on there too. Now that's saved and that's come up. So there we go, we're in our game. And then we have the memory card here, which is saving it. And like I said, we don't have to worry about memory cards and sizes anymore. So we're going to take this one out of here. And I have a Samsung 128GB card that I'm going to use instead. So it's a it's a good card, reputable brand, and hopefully should cause no corruption, unlike the TV which turned itself off. But yeah, that's the card updated in the memory card. Put that back in and then we're ready to go. And for some reason I decided to film that in vertical because I was shooting some shorts and then forgot I was shooting video as well. So that section of the video is in vertical. I'll expand it out a bit, but yeah, it's been a long day. I've had the flu, as I said, but I just want to get these videos done. Hopefully that should be pretty much everything when it comes to the PS2 and bringing it up to date. So we've got the HDMI input to put it in the TV, we have the wireless controller, we have the new memory card with unlimited storage as such, and then we also have the FreeHDBoot, so we can put all the ROMs on the hard drive and they're all in one place. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. If I do, I'll make a separate video on that. But again, leave a comment below if there's something that you can think of which you think will bring the PS2 into the modern day as such, putting it on these modern TVs and stuff like that. I can't really think of anything else. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. It's been a bit of a struggle shooting and editing this because it's sort of mishmashed and all put together as such. Hopefully it sort of flows nicely and you were able to follow it as well. If you want more videos like this on the different systems, so I've got like my Dreamcast, my PS3, my PlayStation, the N64. If you want videos similar to this of how to bring them into the modern day and the stuff that I use, then I'm happy to shoot them as well. But I just want to try and get the PS2 done because so many memories of playing games and that I just want to get back into it and get some stuff done. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, see ya.